All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Mortgage Coach Trust Engine Impact interview with the one and only Coach Bill Hart. What's up, Coach?
I'm hanging out with the one and only Dave Savage, so it's a good day, man.
It is a good day. We have been coaching and leaders in housing for how I'm 38 years. How many years, bro?
30.
30. Long
I don't know how
time.
it's possible it's less for me. I guess it's because I was selling airplanes before I got into the business. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why.
you were. I remember when you were a new guy. And I remember when you were a new coach and I was an operator, at the time. But tell me if you agree with this statement. So by the way, guys, this is anyone that's new to the industry. Coach Bill Hart is one of the most prolific, tenured coaches in the mortgage industry. How many hours we have under the coaching table? Or excuse me,
30,
in the
30.
in the coaching chair.
There have been moments under the coaching table for sure. Um, yeah, 30,000 hours of coaching mortgage professionals. And the reason I think that's relevant, Dave, is that, I mean, first of all, you know this, and I'm not saying this to insult anyone, but it's like everybody's a coach all of a sudden. There's just a lot of coaches out there. And I'm just saying I got a lot of miles on me in your lane. I've never coached any other entities. I mean, a little one-off, here and there. But yeah, 30,000 hours in the mortgage industry coaching people just like you.
Yeah. So yeah, and he's also one of those leaders that has just continued to stay relevant, continue to be modern. He's Bill and I are always chasing what's new, what's fresh, whether that's an idea or a new piece of technology like AirBuds. We're into where the puck is going. So tell me if you agree with this statement. I truly believe this NAR settlement, and again, whether it's July, who knows when it's going to happen. We do know massive change is going to happen. It is a seismic shift. It is a sea change. It's going to be a big deal. And I do believe that it's going to create a very big opportunity. Do you agree with those two statements?
For sure. Yes, on both counts.
So you are is it the national leadership coach for Movement Mortgage? Is that your title? And so you're
Yes.
primarily providing coaching to the executives and managers of Movement Mortgage. Is that right?
Primarily, but not exclusively. I mean, lately I've been making myself more available to LOs that just need a strategy call. And it's my honor to do that. Just had one this morning with a woman in Florida that had been with a credit union for a few years, and she joined us a few months ago, put together a business plan, and she's just struggling. She's doing all the right things, but she's struggling. So it's always my pleasure to be able to step into that person's world and share with them what I've learned from others that have been in similar places. And some of that will kind of be woven into what we're talking about today. But yeah, leadership is my jam, but I certainly get to spend some time with some LOs as well. And it's a time for ballers right now, bud. That's the game, and you know it.
Well, you and I, we had a catch-up call about a week ago, and we said, hey, let's bring some leadership together to the industry. You actually picked this title, getting ahead of the NAR settlement. I loved the title so much that I actually created a playlist because, that's what season it is. It's the season to get ahead of the NAR settlement. And so, guys, there is a playlist now. Let me see how many videos are in that playlist. I've got 10. So I've done 10 interviews that range from the number one loan officer in America, Shop Benoshian, to the number one realtor in America twice, Jason Mitchell, Kerry Scholl. There's some interviews that are just prolific that are how some of the greatest leaders in both mortgage and real estate are getting ahead of it. And it wouldn't be complete without Coach Bill Hart. So Coach, what is your leadership? Where do you want to start by pouring into everyone watching this right now and
You bet.
getting ahead of this?
So the first thing I want to do is a little infomercial for you, and that is just, this is what I tell people. I tell people they're sort of your two things by association. I tell everybody, including this woman this morning, you have to get Mortgage Coach, like subscribe to Mortgage Coach, and you need a win by noon planner. Like those are
Love
my
that.
two things. And you're associated with both. So, I mean, you created Mortgage Coach, obviously, but I love your partnership with Bookspan with Win by Noon. I just think that's the game right now. And so the second level of that is I tell people, you must do the following. Paul, your executive assistant, and I were just talking before the call started about the news and how horrific it is. And dude, you now live in the same news circle that I do. And when I accidentally turn on the news and I see the horrific purse snatching and the shootings, and it's like, okay, really? I'm going to not spend time doing that. And I'm going to go to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, which is now broken up by playlists. So there's subcategories there, but I'm not kidding. This isn't me like just patronizing you, bro. I tell people this, and people can throw it into the chat if they want to, or, confirm this with you later. I tell people that's your job. You need to, it's free, for goodness sakes. Like, just go absorb that content right now. And that Carrie Shull interview, I'm only halfway through. Oh my goodness. So, so good. And I know that there's so many of them, but I'm not going to give that advice if I don't follow it personally. So that's step one.
Well, first of all, thank you for that support. And I've worked really hard to just stay the course. It's not about me, it's about who I'm interviewing.
Yeah,
And I do agree that Carrie Scholl interview is spectacular. I mean, this is a woman who has, been an elite performing realtor for a long time. She leads over 400 realtors today. And her playbook to support buyers and build buyers agents, she's going to win. Like, she's going
for
to have a
sure.
very successful career, and highly recommend y'all watch it.
For sure. Couldn't agree more. So, and the second one on this topic of getting in front of the NAR settlement is to go to Tom Ferry's channel. And you don't need to take in every bit of it and every part of it. It's something that is relevant right now as it relates to the buyer side. So in the show notes, we're going to put a link in there for his was entitled Embracing Change, How the NAR Settlement Affects You. And it's specifically the buy side. So you can watch the second one, which aired, I think, today, April 18th, at the time that we're recording this, which is specifically focused on sellers. I think it's a good thing to be knowledgeable about that because it's what your realtors care about. So it would be important to know that. But the one I want you to run towards is that call, Embracing Change, with Tom, because it's him talking with realtors and subject matter experts about how it's going to impact them. And it's not because you need to be a subject matter expert. So here's my belief in this, Dave. I think you can either stick your head in the sand and say, well, we'll see. I mean, I'll just kind of wait until June and we'll see how it plays out. Bad strategy, in my opinion. Or you can say, I need to be exposed to as much thought leadership on this topic as I can. I may not agree with it all. My agents may not agree with it all, but I need to be aware of it. I think there's some risk in this. And David, I told you last week, and you and I spoke, I have a former client that will remain nameless for this story, who sent me a text right after the NAR settlement came out and said, hey, Coach, what have you got for me? I'm going to be meeting with a group of my top realtors and I want to be able to share it with him. And I'm like, I got nothing, man. It's, just happened. I don't know. Let me know how it goes. He sent me a text afterwards, and he said, with his tail between his legs, and that's not who this guy is. And he said, wow, that was awkward. I opened up a can of worms and they were angry, and they were associating with me. And so I just think it's very wise right now to be aware, but not to take a position. Like, this is not your time to take a position on their business. I think you take a position on your business. To that point, you just interviewed James Allen with our company, with Movement in Connecticut. He'll do 28 loans this month, which is pretty remarkable, in April of 2024. And he just takes a very methodical, very prepared approach in terms of how to have that initial consult with a borrower and then tee it up for the realtor partner. And as he said, I don't know if you remember this, Dave, there's two people I heard say this. I think Carrie said it, and I know James said it, but each of them said differently, it matters more now what lender's name is on the contract than it ever has before. And so if you're hearing that from a top producer and you're watching or listening to this right now, like, own that. Own the idea that your brand, your reputation, your knowledge base matters now more than ever.
Yeah. So couple things I want to call out from what you just said. Must watch that Tom Ferry video. I think this NAR settlement is bringing the mortgage and real estate experience closer together. I'm going to Housing Wire next week, and it's the first time that Housing Wire has been, their big annual event has been both lenders and mortgage professionals together. I'm looking forward to seeing you there, Bill. I think,
Yeah,
you on,
buddy. See you there.
you're going to be speaking at Housing Wire next week. I do think it sold out.
I'm being interviewed by Kyle Draper and his partner about the book, but yeah, I'll be there, be on
good.
stage. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but guys, if you're in mortgage, this is the year to maybe put Inman on your list. Like, this is the year where mortgage and real estate professionals need to partner. That's been a constant theme. And when I interviewed James Allen, I don't know if he said it this clear in the interview, but when we were prepping, I asked him, like, hey, why'd you start using MortgageCoach? And he said, because it helped me go from selling loans to selling net worth. Like, it helped me bring more value to the consumer.
Absolutely.
And I recently, I think it was Sean Hero who said this super clear. It was on this Tuesday's call. He's like, every real estate agent in the world needs to transform into a real estate advisor.
Yeah,
and they need to go
absolutely.
from selling homes to selling, let me show you how I can build your net worth faster through real estate and do it in a way that you can achieve financial freedom. And they need to be able to say that, and they need to be able to deliver an experience. And that means, you know what? If a real estate is going to be a real estate advisor, they need to be working with a mortgage advisor,
Completely.
AKA mortgage coach, not someone that sells loans. Here's your rate, here's your payment, here's your cash flows, but someone who can show, like, hey, let me show you, first-time home buyer, how you're going to build wealth with real estate. So what are your thoughts on, well, I know your thoughts on that theme, you align with it closely, but what is your push to the industry in this season that we're in to actually go from loan officers to advisors and realtors to advisors?
Yeah. I just, here's the way I'm a simple guy. I mean, I'm just a simple guy. And so I see things in simple terms. I don't know if you know Chris Welton or not, but you need to interview him.
Of course.
If you don't.
He just interviewed me for his podcast.
Nice. Okay. Sweet. So now you need to interview him.
I
coached
on the schedule.
Right on, man. I love that you are. So I coached Chris for years and had to stop coaching him when I joined Movement. And he's just such an interesting guy. He was born with one arm and he's just overcome adversity. He works out harder in the gym than anybody you'd know. And he's just written a book called One Jordan.
Yeah.
And the idea is that when he wants to get in touch with somebody that is hard to get in touch with, he sends them one Jordan. He finds out their shoe size and he sends them one Jordan and says, hey, love to get together with you or have a Zoom call or whatever it is so I can send you the other shoe. And he said, I'm like 100%, it's everybody's in. And so he sent me this Jordan.
Oh my
and
God.
The demonstration that I want to make here is, you've heard the expression flat-footed. That's what flat-footed looks like. You don't want to be on the heels, right? On your heels in this market. You want to be on the balls of your feet. That's the athletic position. That's what your son plays lacrosse, right?
Yeah, he did play for lacrosse for Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was on the balls of his feet, right? I mean, I've got two
was
girls
on
that
the
play,
balls of his feet. Still is.
right? I've got two girls that play D1 soccer. They're on the balls of their feet. My son is a Muay Thai fighter currently in Phuket, Thailand, and he's on the balls of his feet. Like, you got to be on the balls of your feet. And so what that looks like for us right now is, okay, I need to be taking in as much knowledge and creating as much expertise as I can so that I can create those relationships now that matter in real estate more than they ever did before. You guys, it didn't matter before as nearly as much as it does now. It's why you had realtors who did very little volume, who never sold you hard, or they never sold you at all. It's like, oh, you've already got a lender, fine. No, that's great. That's not today. That's not where we're at today. So here's the best example of this I can give you. A few years ago, I was hired to speak in Australia, and it's a very different market there, but there's some fundamental things that are very similar. And so I remember talking one day to this guy that was a top producing mortgage lender, and he was partnering with realtors just as we would here. And I said, so tell me a little bit about your philosophy. And I'm going to butcher this accent, but here's basically what he said. He said, well, Bill, here's the thing. If I want to go after realtors, I've got to end up inside their world. And so if I want to catch the hunted, I've got to learn to think like the prey. And I thought, oh, that is so good, dude. That's a book title, right? If you want to catch the hunted, think like the prey. And that was his point. He said, I am an expert in real estate because that's who I partner with. So today, you guys, if I'm talking to you and this has got your heart rate up right now, you're saying, man, I'm not an expert in real estate, fix it. Just make a decision and fix it. So that's my position on it. It's now is the time to learn everything you can about their world so that you can transfer the most value because you understand them and you can help them.
I love that metaphor. So we had the Modern Mortgage and Modern Real Estate Summit a week ago, or maybe it was 2 weeks now. And I had a theme for the mortgage event, which was obsessed with impact. And I kind of shared a framing story, and it's my theme for the year is obsessed with impact. I'm sure you like that, given that you're with
A lot.
movement. Impact
Yep.
lending is
Impact lender,
is a
baby. Yep.
powerful phrase and a powerful movement, which I applaud you
Yep.
guys for. But I
Thank
opened
you.
up the real estate event with a phrase that I got from Ben Newman. Do you follow Ben Newman?
Oh, I sure know of him. I can't say I follow him closely.
He's, by the way, incredible. I interviewed him. It's part of the playlist, Get Ahead of the NAR settlement.
Oh,
And
nice.
he said a phrase that I'm like, this is the phrase in the rally cry for real estate agents. And the phrase that he came up with is the Ben Newman phrase. I actually titled the interview with "Attack the Process." And I just love the language, attack the process.
No doubt.
And I feel like one of the biggest, pillars of change that buyers agents need to go through is they need to become more process driven. Like listing
You
agents are
bet.
pretty process driven. Like I've got a pitch, I know my conversion, I go out and I give the presentation, I negotiate comp, and I get signed agreements. Well, buyers agents, they need a pitch, they need a process, which, by the way, their mortgage advisor needs to be part of that process. They negotiate comp, they get a signed contract. So what are your thoughts on like that being the North
Oh,
Star
buddy.
for
No,
mortgage
that's it.
professionals?
That
Is to
and that's a
help,
better way to say
it's
it.
attack the process
Yep.
and mastermind with realtors, work with realtors to develop a unified process. Like, what's your buyer's agent process? This is my process. Let's attack this together and let's come up with a winning, by the way,
Yeah.
he calls it the code. Let's come up with the code. Does he call it the code? I feel like that's not the right word.
Formula.
No, what's he call it? Well, I'll think of that in a minute. It's a Ben Newman word.
Okay, cool.
But what are your thoughts on attack the process?
Well, I mean, I love it all, and I will use that and give him credit for it
Oh,
for
it's the
you.
standard. The standard. He calls it the
Okay,
standard.
the standard.
So
Cool.
let's attack the process, create
Cool.
a standard that we operate under. And that is what lenders should be doing with realtors, is
For
creating
sure.
standards
For
together.
sure. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I love the idea of attack the process. So I'm 69 now, Dave. When I was 40, 29 years ago, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. And you weren't supposed to even start looking for it until you were 50 back then. Now it's younger. And I can remember so vividly getting that news, and it was just like a sucker punch. And I remember it's such a strange thing. I went to the car wash. Don't ask me why that seemed like a good idea, but I did. I live in Southern California. You know the deal with our cars here, right? They got to be shiny all the time. Anyway, so I'm at the car wash and I'm thinking about this, and it was one of those windows where you can see the car go through and get the soap and rinse and everything. And I'm sitting there on a bench, and I just kind of, I literally just slowly leaned over and was kind of just laying on this bench, like, holy crap, I've got cancer. And it was just that moment of, I could probably just stay in the fetal position here and suck my thumb. And, 30 seconds later, I'm like, all right, game on. We're going to war on this. And the war became four, I think I've told you this story before, but four opinions. I didn't just have a second opinion. I had four opinions. And the fact that I went for four opinions changed the quality of my life, quite honestly. I found a doctor at USC that was doing something nobody else was doing. And I'm here today and my life is perfectly normal. But I tell you that because I think that this hit people. And when I say this, it's everything. We come out of COVID, and the weird, dirty little secret in the mortgage industry. Think about it, you guys. During COVID, you were killing it. You were killing it. Restaurants, retail, dying on the vine, waiters, waitresses, trying to figure out another way to make a living. You were killing it because rates were low. Now we get hit afterwards. This is the first time this has happened for many of you. If you got into the business after 2010, you've never seen anything like this. And honestly, no matter how long you've been in the business, you've never seen anything quite like this. Then we add the NAR settlement to it, and it's like bam, bam, bam. And so I just feel like there's a lot of people, Dave, that have just been sort of like me on that bench. They just kind of sitting in the fetal position saying, man, I can't wait until this changes because I've lost confidence, right? I've lost confidence. And so the thing that I want to say to you is look at this as the opportunity to distance yourself. This is an opportunity right now. Dave said it at the top of the call. This is an opportunity to identify where your gaps are. I did a talk, Dave, you were there. I'm pretty sure it was, if I'm not mistaken, I have a picture of you and I and RPM executives
Oh,
at the
so we got some
Half
cool
Moon
black and
Bay,
whites. I don't know who
right?
took the photo, but we got some cool
Cindy
photos.
was there. Yeah. And I had given a talk called Fix the Leaky Bucket. And I bought a metal bucket, drilled holes in it, put it in a child's pool. Pretty sure this was at the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay. I don't think they
It
liked
was.
me
That's
very
exactly
much.
where it was.
Yeah. I picked the bucket up and there's water coming out from all over the bucket. And the point that I was trying to make was you've got leaks in your system. So to Ben Newman's point, if you're going to attack the process, first identify where your holes are. And guys, you got holes everywhere. We all do, right? Like, well, yeah, I don't have a great follow-up system in place. I kind of do. I sort of do it, but I could do it better. I don't really have a great presentation. Dave, you talk about the five, what are they? The five micro things now?
Oh, the five micro lessons that are financial
Run
literacy
towards that.
lessons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get that, you guys. Like, get that into your brain, because when you tighten that up, you tighten up your systems, you begin to tighten up your process, you're going to be standing so much taller. And honestly, you have the capacity right now. Like, you have a moment at this moment in history to improve your process, improve your business, and improve your personal disciplines. Because if rates drop a bit, all of a sudden capacity is going to become the issue again, and improvement is going to be difficult to do.
Yeah.
Now is
Well,
the time.
and by the way, I mean, James Allen is closing 28 loans this month. We'll put a link down below to
Yeah.
both the Tom Ferry interview and that interview. If you're watching this on YouTube, down in the notes below. So here's netting it out, and then a closing thought from Coach.
Yep.
Identify your holes. So this is a time to face the brutal reality. What are your holes? Get on your toes. Attack the process to turn realtors into real estate advisors, and that is a theme that I think we could close this call out with, that if you did that, guys, you would gain market share right now in this marketplace, and you would not only win more loans today, but you would have a more sustainable career as things move on. Any closing thought, Coach?
Three things. Number one, take a day. You guys have heard Todd Duncan talk about going to the Rock for years in Laguna to do his life plan. I'm going to suggest the same thing to you for your business plan. Take a day and get away. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. It's ridiculously counterintuitive to get away, but get away, disconnect, go to the beach, go to the mountains, go sit in your truck overlooking a gorge, go someplace and just give yourself some time to let this wash over you, and then go into this process of identifying those gaps or those holes in your bucket. Number two, put together a 90-day business plan. I don't even think you need a 12-month business plan right now, to be honest with you. Put together a 90-day business plan. Be very specific about what needs to be done, break down the projects, but then break them down into physical actions that'll hit your calendar. And then lastly, commit to your new schedule. What I know is, Dave, whether somebody uses the Win by Noon planner, the Full Focus planner that I use by Mike Hyatt, Outlook, whatever, I don't care. Like, I'm a system agnostic, but you have to have something that on Sunday night, you review your week, you look at it ahead of time. And so you tee up and you show up Monday morning already prepared for what you have to do. You have flex time scheduled in so that when stuff goes sideways, you have time to react, and then you get back on track. If you'll do those three things, take a day, put together a 90-day business plan, and commit to your new schedule, do not let yourself off the hook. You're going to be in a much stronger position 91 days from now.
I love that. I'm going to add one little thing that I have incorporated. Paul, my EA, helps me with this, but we have a Win by Noon check-in. You know, for most of my
Nice.
career, I've had a morning bookend, an evening bookend, but I've actually quit doing the evening bookend, and I'm doing the Win by Noon bookend. And so
Cool.
try that, you know, and try to actually, you know, at noon, or we average probably about 12:15. By 1 o'clock, we have, like, what do we do? You know, if you guys, and this is Win by Noon time, guys. So Coach, dude, it's just an honor to have you as a friend. Super grateful to have you. As always, you're always creating innovation. So there's a playlist that you help author, getting ahead
I'm so
of the
glad,
NAR
man.
settlement. If you're watching this and you haven't already subscribed to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, get subscribed today. And
Do it right now. Don't
yeah,
do
make sure.
anything else. Just do that right now. Yeah.
And if you're not following Coach Bill on social media, he's always been someone that is valuable. He's inspirational. He is educational. He is active on both Instagram and Facebook. So make sure you follow him today. And Coach, any other things before we wrap it up?
Don't let it go by. Just don't let this
Let's,
opportunity go by. I posted
little
a video
virtual
today
knuckle.
that said,
Boom. Don't let it go by, guys. This is a wrap. Take care, everybody.
that's it.
Hope you got lots of value from this.